coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Oh, you pressed the wrong button. Residual.
This is Cord Blue, Chris Bergen, and Sports Turn State on radio affiliates of the SportsTalk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk. Sports Talk, the network stormy Monday. I hope everybody safe and sound. A heavy weather moving through the state this evening into tomorrow. It's going to be nice weather for what's ahead. Of course, more baseball, and it's right time. Darlington on the block. We have a good year for a truck race, an Xfinity race. This coming week, the weather was spectacular. Look forward this week, looking ahead. The NASCAR series returning to the lady black, the track, tough to tame. The track, more nicknames than the other track. In NASCAR. Chris Pat here on this Sunday night. Pat and I are in our studios in Columbia. Chris, that is a luxury location out in the area. I hope you had a great weekend, sir.
I actually did. Had a really good weekend, except for yesterday. Had some honeydew projects. And, Phil, let me encourage all of our listeners, especially for men, for just a moment. But for the men, for just a moment, if you're unfamiliar or unsure about how to do a certain project, ask first. I an outdoor carpet yesterday in our washing machine. Filter out. Take off the back panel. Figure out a way to make sure that my wife wasn't going to. Yeah, today is our anniversary, our 13th wedding anniversary. I wasn't sure I was going to survive to number 13 today, but fortunately, she let me off the hook after I got it fixed. But yeah, long day yesterday with the honeydew projects, and I am the world's worst handyman. So I'm just encouraging people of my ilk. If you're unsure,
no, I think they do, because I'm the guy that takes a 10-minute project and turn it into a 2-hour project. Okay, I'm the guy that makes multiple trips to, name it, Lowe's, Home Depot, Aces Hardware, whatever is your favorite place. When they see me coming, man, they're like, oh yeah, they can hear the cha-ching because they know it's not going to be my only trip. Of course, there's a lot of returns involved in that, and they don't get all the money, but still, they know when I walk in there, it won't be the only time they see me. Happy anniversary, by the way.
Thank you.
Hope you and the bride had a great day. Yeah, when you said in the washing machine, I knew you were heading for trouble. Outdoor carpet in the washing machine. I knew you were heading for trouble.
I could envision it in my mind. It was a good idea. And then as the cycle was finishing, there was an error message that popped up on the washing machine. I looked it up on YouTube, and it went downhill from there. There's our listeners over time that I'm on the program will learn that one of my favorite all-time TV shows is the Andy Griffith program. And one of the episodes is Andy, and he's got a freezer that's broken, and he tries to encourage Aunt B to call the man to get it fixed. That's the way I do things. Call the man.
Call the man.
Unfortunately, I ended up being the man yesterday. Got it fixed. I'm kind of proud of myself, but good grief.
Yeah, you might save a little money on the front end if you make that call first. Exactly. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. Let's begin with the Gamecocks getting another football commitment today. In fact, they took a commitment away from Georgia. Donovan Westmoreland, a linebacker out of Griffin, Georgia, who had committed to Georgia January 22nd, he decommitted from Georgia and at the same time committed to South Carolina. Put that in the same tweet. Announced his decommitment and then his new commitment to South Carolina. We'll give you more details on that in our recruiting report, but he looks like a good prospect at 6'2", 195, an edge rusher with good athleticism, good length, and pretty good speed. So we'll talk more about him in recruiting. Got a lot of recruiting for you. In fact, tonight at 7:05, we're going to talk to Tyrese Ross, the South Carolina-bound safety transfer from Washington State, who committed to the Gamecocks not too long after you guys went off the air on Friday night. And he is a guy he lived in Jacksonville, Florida, ended up finishing high school in the Atlanta area, originally committed to Mississippi State, then went to Washington State, and which is funny because I guess he and Mike Leach must have crossed paths, I guess, as he had committed to Mississippi State, then Leach comes to Mississippi State, then he goes to Washington State, where Leach had been at Washington State. So we'll hear from him. And also, you guys had on Friday night in the latter part of the show an interview with Braden Davis, the newly committed quarterback for South Carolina. We're going to bring that back to you again tonight for those who weren't with us, maybe in that latter portion of the show on Friday night. You didn't get a chance to hear it. We'll bring that to you tonight as well. So we got that coming your way. And your phone calls at 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number here on Sports Talk. Open up the phone lines right now, and you can join us. And your thoughts about the NFL draft over the weekend and all the players from the state who were selected and how your favorite team did. Also, baseball over the weekend. I tell you, Monty Lee is going to pay to come on this show. Tigers have not lost since we did that interview, and we were probably the only ones in the media to reach out to him. Things were going really bad, 7 in a row. Remember, they had lost 7 in a row. Mm-hmm. We got him on the show. He talked it out. He kind of laid it all out there, took the blame, and said, going to try and fix things. They haven't lost since. So he got the Sports Talk kiss. And the Tigers, not only did they sweep Louisville, I mean, they beat them like a mule. They really took it to Louisville. Very impressive weekend. Clemson sweeps Louisville. South Carolina gets swept at Ole Miss. Gamecock hitting once again, just not there. Too many strikeouts. I think they struck out to 31 times on the weekend and only walked twice. They only drew 2 walks for the entire series. No offense. It's becoming apparent, Chris, that against high-level pitching, I mean, South Carolina can throw some high-level pitching out there, but their high-level pitching isn't matching the high-level pitching of the best teams they're facing in the league, and they still have to play number 4 Mississippi State and number 5 Tennessee. Ole Miss was a team that had been scuffling a little bit. They had lost 4 straight SEC series. They had dropped from number 1 in the country down to number 19, yet they were still hitting at a pretty high clip. And they could throw a couple of big-time starters out there the first 2 days, and even their day 3 or game 3 starter was pretty stout. So I don't know how you fix the hitting this late in the season. Either you can hit or you can't hit, and it's becoming apparent that South Carolina against the premier pitching is just not a good hitting team.
Well, and I was speculating and I'm wondering over the weekend when Mark Kingston might make some changes, to his lineup, and he did on Saturday, moving Wes Clark out of that 3rd spot where he had just had his struggles, moved him down to number 7. He got a base hit, but nothing. Oh, he got that home run, that 3-run home run. That was his only hit of the game after moving down in the order. But the Gamecocks, as you mentioned, Phil, this is a team ranked 13th in the SEC in runs scored, 13th in batting average, and 12th in on-base percentage. And they struck out, you hit the entire series, but 17 times on Friday. It doesn't matter who they run out as a Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon starter. When you can't score, you're not going to win ball games. But I will say this. The other thing I think Mark Kingston should look in, his pitching staff should look into doing, maybe move Thomas Farr out of that Friday spot because he has yet to win an SEC series. He's 0-5 in his starts in the SEC, 2-5 overall. He now has the worst ERA of the 3 weekend starters. Maybe just take him out of the rotation for a weekend just to see if something might change. The Gamecocks are in a position right now, Phil. They go into this weekend almost needing to desperately win this series, if not sweep, because they're about to play themselves out not of the NCAA tournament, but they are certainly about to play themselves out of a host opportunity in the NCAA regionals. They've got to get it fixed and got to get it fixed quickly. I don't necessarily lay all the blame on Friday on Thomas Farr because he's pitched well enough in some ball games, as you pointed out in your story Friday. He could almost sue for lack of run support. So it's not all his fault, but maybe just give his team a little different look. Maybe put Jack Mahoney in the rotation just to see what he can do. They've got to shake up that rotation and do a lot of different things. They started with the batting order. I think that was a good move to move Wes Clark down just to see if maybe that gets him out of what has been a month-long slump. But now it's time, I think, to also tweak the pitching rotation as well.
Yeah, excellent points. And we'll see what Mark Kingston does. You can't sit back and let things slip away from you. They do have a game tomorrow night against North Florida, and Mahoney's going to be the starter in that game. So that would take him out of starting, Friday or Saturday, and probably not even Sunday. At this point, they'd have to change something up midweek. Then you have Clemson the following Tuesday, and you want to keep him ready for that game, perhaps, because that could be a huge game RPI-wise for both of those teams. So that be a midweek game you definitely want to win for, more than one reason. All right, we'll be right back here on Sports Talk.
The lady in black doesn't age. She just gets tougher. And Throwback Weekend is when she likes to remind all the friends, families, drivers, and dreamers just how they got here. Business up front and parties in the back. Over 70 years of history held together with one famous black stripe. Too tough to tame? I guess you'll have to find out. Darlington Throwback Weekend, May 7th through 9th. Get your tickets at darlingtonraceway.com.
South Carolina, just right.
Membership with the Founders Federal Credit Union is a slam dunk. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 locations to see if you qualify for membership. Relax with Founders. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues, some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Enjoy life to the fullest with tasty peanuts that pack a lot of flavor. When it comes to eating peanuts, the research is clear. Peanuts improve your health. Peanuts, a snack that gives back. Crack some open today for a nutritious, sustainable, and earth-friendly treat. Be sure to stop by your local grocery store produce section to pick up a bag of roasted in-shell peanuts. Brought to you by the South Carolina Peanut Board. Visit aboutpeanuts.com for delicious peanut-based recipes.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo, 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
Life. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
right, our phone number here on Sports Talk. Love to hear from you. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Did you know that since 2002, more than $4.2 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to fund scholarships and grants for South Carolina students? Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education wins. And playing for fun is a win for education. All right, lines are open, 888-898-2525. Darlington Week here in South Carolina. Chris, you and I are both NASCAR fans. I think we both like watching the races. We both love going to Darlington. And it's back. The May race is back for the first time since, 2004, I think it is?
That's correct.
Except for last year, of course, when they restarted everything. That was an exception. And it's going to be a throwback weekend this weekend, a lot of nostalgia. It's Mother's Day weekend, so all that's going to be incorporated. As a matter of fact, Darlington has announced some things about the pre-race stuff that I thought I would share with everybody real quick, and then we'll talk about yesterday and what's coming up. So, NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Inman will be the honorary starter. He'll wave the green flag for the Goodyear 400 NASCAR race Sunday. Prior to the green flag, 2013 NASCAR Hall of Famer Leonard Wood and 2015 NASCAR Hall of Famer Bill Elliott will take parade laps. Wood will drive a 1971 restored Ford Mercury that David Pearson drove. We all know that car. If you follow racing, you know the 71 Mercury that David Pearson used to tool around in. And also, Elliott will drive a restored version of the number 9 Coors Motorcraft Ford Thunderbird from his 88 NASCAR Cup Series championship season. That was a cool machine back in 1988, and the number 9 Coors Motorcraft Ford. That thing was as Rusty Wallace would say, that thing was a hot rod. That would really, really fly. So that's what's going to happen in some of the pre-race stuff. And, of course, they'll have the flyover, as Kerry has told us. We'll talk with Kerry Tharp tomorrow night, and he'll give us more details about things happening at Darlington coming up this week and on the weekend. About 35% capacity will be on hand. Thought we had a good race yesterday at Kansas, Chris, and very competitive. And a different winner. Kyle Busch gets his first win of this season, number 68 of his soon-to-be Hall of Fame career. And so as I look ahead to Darlington, I'm thinking usually the younger, less talented drivers don't win at Darlington. It happens sometimes, but not often. It's usually the veteran, more talented driver. So I'm thinking, who's still out there among that group that has not won a race? And Kevin Harvick immediately comes to mind.
Well, he ended up finishing second yesterday, and I find it somewhat ironic, and if you want to buy into conspiracy theories in NASCAR, and that's not due, but not for this one, but did you find it interesting that Kyle Busch won the Bushy McBush race yesterday in Kansas?
Yeah.
And actually, it should have been Kyle Larson. He had the best car for most of the race yesterday and blew a tire down the stretch, and Kyle was in the right place at the right time. And normally, heck, in NASCAR, you probably lose more races than you actually win. You just have to be in the right position to take home that checkered flag, and Kyle Busch did. But you're right about Darlington. This is not a track for the faint of heart. It is not a track where a rookie comes in and dominates. Normally, it's a veteran who's been around there and gotten their Darlington stripe at least 4 or 5 times. The difference will be from the Southern 500. This race on Sunday will be 100 miles shorter, so not quite the grind. They're going 500 miles and 368 laps around the track. Two-Tuts team takes out on you on a hot Labor Day Sunday evening. So maybe you get a younger driver who's able to withstand that and find a way to get into victory lane. The one thing I can say, though, with NASCAR getting different winners almost every week, it wouldn't surprise me if we get a new winner again this coming weekend. And my bet would be it's one of the veteran guys that ultimately does it, though.
Yeah, that's why I cited Harvick, a guy that's won there before. It's a veteran driver. Still looking for that first win of the season. Had a good run this past weekend, so I could see him getting it done. And You go back to last year, of course, Harvick won 2 of the 3 races. Mm-hmm. He won the 500. He won the first race in May. Denny Hamlin won the middle race. So, all veteran drivers there. You look back in recent years, Brad Keselowski won in 18, Hamlin won in 17, Truex won in 16, Carl Edwards in 15, Harvick in 14, Matt Kenseth in 13, and Johnson in 12. In 19, it was Eric Jones, very talented, young guy at that time. But this guy, Eric Jones now, he is a guy who has a handle on Darlington. You go back and look at his few races that he's run on that track. He's been up front and very good almost every time he's raced there.
Well, and he's the anomaly to what you were just pointing out, Phil. He's one of the younger guys who's found a way to get to victory lane. But the problem, or at least from his perspective in the past, is he has had really, really good equipment running with Joe Gibbs Racing. To be curious to see how he handles now going over to Richard Petty Motorsports, because he is taking over there for Bubba Wallace, and I'm not expecting him to have quite the success he had back in 2019. But if I can digress for a moment.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, none of this is on Darlington. I am not about to blame Darlington for this, but I think NASCAR has made a critically bad mistake with regards to basically asking Darlington to move Throwback Weekend over to May. Because back in 2014, when Darlington got the Southern 500 back on its rightful place on Labor Day, and then the following year, Chip Weil, who was the president at that time, made the decision, hey, let's make this a celebration of the sport. Let's throw back to our roots. We were the first super speedway on the circuit, 1950 and all this stuff. Let's go back to what we started. Let's throw back to that era of racing. Made perfect sense over Labor Day weekend, and it went hand in hand. Then the sponsors got upset last year when the playoffs engulfed Darlington, and it was the first playoff race. And the sponsors went to NASCAR and said, hey, we don't like these throwback schemes because we can't get our big sponsorship on the hood, on the side of the car, whatever the case may be. We don't like this. We don't want this anymore. And NASCAR, if you ever have to wonder about why NASCAR makes decisions the way they do, it's either one of two things. It's safety or money. And this was obviously for money. And I predict, unless Darlington is able to get out of the playoffs, and that is something I don't think any of us want to see, but if the Southern 500 continues running on Labor Day weekend in the playoffs, I predict Throwback Weekend will go away in about 3 years, because I don't think it's going to work in May. I don't see what they're throwing back to. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I would say I think you're right, because tradition and Darlington, Southern 500, they're all interwoven. And when they were doing the throwback, I mean, it was a throwback not only just to Darlington, but to the Southern 500, first super speedway race. I think they would counter by saying, well, we're still throwing it back to our Darlington heritage. We're still the oldest super speedway. We've still been running races longer than anybody on a track this size. And we're still commemorating the great history of NASCAR through here at Darlington. And this gives us a chance to put more attention on this particular aspect of things versus sharing it with the playoffs and the attention that has to be given to the playoffs.
No, and I get that, and that's probably the right way that Darlington and NASCAR need to spin it. My point, though, is from a fan's perspective, Darlington's history is Labor Day weekend. Throwback Weekend was built over Labor Day weekend. That's why when Darlington got that race back on Labor Day weekend, they wanted to make it a celebration of the history of the sport. Mm-hmm. Now you move it to May, and it's still Darlington. I'm not trying to diminish what happens around the corner from where I live, but it's not nearly as special in the middle of May. It's just another race during the regular season as it is in September, and I don't think it ever will be. And I think this is unfortunately going to be the downfall of the Throwback Weekend, because after a little bit, you're going to wonder, well, why are they throwing back to when they've got another race in September? I just think NASCAR kowtowed to its sponsors. I understand why. Not criticizing that. We love our sponsors here on Sports Talk. Mm-hmm. But NASCAR, there are certain things that NASCAR should step forward and stand up against, and that should have been one of them. No, Throwback Weekend was going to stay on Labor Day weekend.
We'll bring that up with KT. Well, we can bring it up with KT tomorrow night and get his thoughts on that. KT doesn't realize that he's going to be piled on tomorrow night when he joins us here. It won't be the little friendly chit-chat. He's going to be piled on here. Hope he's listening and he can be prepared for that. Okay. Well, excellent take on your part and an interesting thought. I didn't realize all the stuff you just said about the sponsor pressure to get it off of the playoff weekend and all that. I did not realize that was the case. We'll hit a break here on Sports Talk. Want to join us? 888-898-2525 is the number. We'll be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Overcast this evening with on and off showers possible, the low dipping to 67. Tomorrow, very warm, and like today, a 60% chance of showers and storms. Look for a high of 87. The rain should clear out on Wednesday afternoon. The rest of the weekend looks nicer. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Right now, we all might feel a little disconnected. For seniors living alone with smaller social circles, feelings of loneliness and isolation can feel overwhelming. But there's something we can all do to help. Connect with your older loved one virtually and have the conversation of a lifetime with StoryCorps Connect. Anyone can conduct an interview, and every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history. Connect, honor, share at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Joe Biden is formally raising the nation's cap on refugee admissions to 62,500 this year. The move comes weeks after Biden faced bipartisan blowback for his delay in replacing the record low ceiling of 15,000 set by former President Donald Trump. Biden last month moved to expand the eligibility criteria for resettlements, removing one roadblock to refugees entering the U.S., but he initially stopped short of lifting the annual cap. But Biden faced sharp pushback and swiftly reversed course. Biden says the previous limit, quote, did not reflect America's values in a nation that welcomes and supports refugees, unquote. On Wall Street, the Dow by 238 points. The Nasdaq dropped 67. The S&P 500 up by 11. More details at srnnews.com.
One thing you hear on The Point all day long, it's be intentional. You hear it from our local and national hosts, and I practice what I preach. So when it comes to my biggest financial investment, my home, well, I'm pretty intentional. I had Allstate Seamless Gutter come out, and they fixed me up. Think about this. You spend between, $800, $1,500 on gutters for your house? That's an intentional investment. It protects your home against so many things that can cost thousands and thousands of dollars later on. Things like mold damage or foundation repairs. And while we're talking about being intentional, when Doug and his team came out, did the job on my home, well, we partnered up to help save you some money. If you call 833-5-GUTTER, tell them you want that point discount, that's 40% off your gutters. Make an intentional decision about your home. Protect your biggest financial investment. They do great work. And I won't endorse Allstate Seamless Gutter if I didn't have them come out and do the work on my own home. Peace of mind and new gutters at a great price. That's being intentional. Allstate Seamless Gutter, 833-5-GUTTER. That's 833-5-GUTTER.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Hello, Midlands. It's Jay here with The Melting Pot. Here's a few questions we get when people call us. Do we serve only chocolate? No, we serve 4 courses, but you can get just chocolate or 4 courses of chocolate. No, you don't have to sit at a big table with strangers around you, but you can sit at a big table with friends around you. You just need to bring the friends with you. We also specialize in having lots of private booths with real walls between them, so you won't feel like a fish in a plexiglass tank. Come and see us at The Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
A community vaccination center is now open at Columbia Place Mall on Two Notch Road in Richland County for South Carolinians age 16 and older. Translators will be on site and transportation assistance will be provided by the Comet. No appointments needed. Walk-ins welcome. For more information, call 1-866-365-8110. That's 1-866-365-8110. 365-8110.
I'm here to fill time because, as everyone knows, when a radio station has dead air, Daddy loses money. Albeit these guys are getting such a deal, Daddy's not losing that much money. So take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years. Ooh, that was great. Now check this out.
Back we are on Sports Talk, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Want to get to your phone calls here in just a second. Go ahead and grab those lines. We'll get to you in just a moment. Want to remind you, with summertime right around the corner here in South Carolina, you want to go to the beach and you want to stay in a beautiful location. You need a house for maybe 10 or 12 or more people. Need a big house. Need a medium-sized house. Need maybe a condo. All of that and more you can get by calling one number, 843-237-4246. 843-237-4246. James Smith Realty, Paulie's Vacation Rentals.com. Of course, we were with Jimmy on Thursday. Had a great time at his location right there in Paulie's, and he's a great guy. He will do whatever whatever is needed to get you what you want. He's got over 30 qualified agents working in his office who can help you with rentals, who can help you with sales, can help you buy something. It's a one-stop shop. And don't delay, okay? Don't procrastinate. He who hesitates is lost forever. Give James Smith Realty a call at 843-237-4246. That's for your perfect beach getaway down at Paulie's and Litchfield and the other beautiful beaches of South Carolina. All right, 888-898-2525. We go to, are you kidding me? This is a rarity. Chris, you're about to experience a phone call like none other. I know in your career you had many wackos on your shows. This is a phone call like none other because, ladies and gentlemen, we pause what was a very good show and we take it down a couple of notches here on Sports Talk as we welcome the de facto mayor of the city of Charleston, the bad boy by the bay, the pontiff of the port city, the queen of the cowboy crybabies, and trying to think of a good one here, and the man who swims out to Fort Sumter on his own, and he collects the unexploded cannonballs and he takes them back to the Citadel after he shines them up and paints them up to be used again against aggressors from other parts of the country. He's not Jim Rome. Jim Rome has a real job. This is J. Rome.
Hello?
Hello, Jerome. Can you not hear?
Breaking up is hard to do. They say that breaking up is hard to do. Now I know that is true. This way, if this is the end, instead of making up where we could be breaking up again. How are you, Phil?
Now, how many times have you gone through a divorce?
Hey, how many times has Neil Sedaka gone through a divorce?
I mean, I've heard you yell at your wife before. I've heard you yell at your mother before. So I'm just wondering, of course, what he's referring to is Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. That hasn't happened yet. He hasn't gone the way of Bill Gates and his wife, okay? They hadn't gotten to that point yet. It's not there.
Hey, I guess she kind of got sick of him after 27 years. Wow. All I know, I want to be that lawyer.
Well,
stop me when I finish counting, okay?
Yeah. I guess love doesn't mean everything. Love doesn't mean everything when it comes to the bank account of a guy like a Bill Gates. But you know what? A guy like that can give his wife half of his property and still have more than everybody else in the world.
Hey, let me ask you, are you going to be all right? I've been hearing all this talk over the weekend. I said, I better call out Phil and see how he's doing.
I'm good. You know, I've studied this. I've talked to my sources in and around Aaron Rodgers and around the Packers. My really good sources. And you know, this is just a creation of it's fake media. It's a creation of you know, these NFL reporters who were bored with the draft and all that. I think everything's going to be fine.
You can't talk about your brother-in like that. And by the way, if he does go to Denver, I used to live in Denver, so they're going to love him there. And his girlfriend's from Boulder. I've been to Boulder several times. Very nice.
His fiance.
Very nice.
His fiance. And you know what? He's not going anywhere. Packers aren't going to trade him.
About that?
Yeah, I feel good about it. I do. Yeah. Things are going to get worked out. Look, as you may or may not know, Jerome, every long-lasting relationship has its ups and downs.
He needs to learn. Teach Jerome. Yeah.
It's like you and it's just like you and the Big Kahuna. Now, at one time, you and the Big Kahuna had a loving relationship.
And
it got rough. It got rough. It got rough. Okay, and there was a separation and eventually a divorce.
That would never happen.
And so, but it's not going to get to that point here with Rodgers and the Packers. Packers aren't that stupid. All you got to do is look at the Patriots. Do you want to be the Patriots of 21 and miss the playoffs because you let your Hall of Fame quarterback leave for some reason? No, they'll work it out. They'll figure it out.
They let Brett Favre go. See you, Brett.
But they had Aaron Rodgers waiting. They don't have Aaron Rodgers waiting to replace Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if Jordan Love is anything. You know, we don't know anything. At least they knew they had something in Aaron Rodgers. No, it's not.
Sooner or later, 17 years. Let's see. Bill Gates and his wife breaking up. Then you got the guy, the other rich guy, his wife breaking up for 30 years.
Rich guy.
17 years. People get sick of each other.
We're not sick of Aaron Rodgers, okay? If we have to sacrifice Brian Gutekunst or anybody else in that organization that he's mad at to keep Aaron Rodgers, we'll wish them well and give them lovely parting gifts.
Okay.
And you see, the only reason you're bringing this up is because you know as long as Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay, we're going to be right there on the doorstep of the Super Bowl, if not in the Super Bowl.
He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's James Harden Jr. That's who he is. Never know that. He wasn't leaving either, right?
Well, that's true. That's true. But I'm just telling you, my gut tells me this will get worked out.
By the way, I watched Milwaukee and New Jersey yesterday, or Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
That Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's a bad man.
Well, he's no Jason Tatum.
Hey, you see who the Cowboys picked up? We got us a South Carolina Gamecock. How you like that?
From the Low Country.
I think he got a chance.
He's from. They say they list him from Louisiana, but we all know he's from Berkeley High School.
I think he's got a chance to, to play. He's got a chance to make that.
Can you say his last? Can you say his last name?
Mukamu.
Mukwamu. Work on it so you'll be ready. Yeah, I think
I'm ready now.
Long armed and he has good cover skills. Had those 3 picks against Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm doesn't want to see him again. Tell you that.
I know who he is.
Yeah,
he got a chance to make it.
Yeah. Okay, Jerome. Good talking to you.
See you, Brett. Aaron.
Thank you. Aaron, I've been looking at that thing, been studying that thing all weekend long. That's near and dear to my heart as America's premier Packer fan. And we're not letting Aaron Rodgers leave the organization. We hold the strings. Now, if he wants to retire over some little, I don't know what it is. It's up his rear end with the Packers. If it's the selection of Love last year, if that's still under his skin or something else. They were throwing all kind of stuff out there this weekend. He was upset over them not going for it on 4th and short at the goal line against Tampa Bay. I get that. That's not something that makes you want to leave an organization. He and the head coach, they seem to get along. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes, but just watching them every game as I do, I watch every game, every snap. they seem to be operating just fine. He loves this offense. How can you walk away from an offense that allowed you to produce the kind of numbers that you produced this past season? Aaron Rodgers produced. That'd be just stupid.
Oh, I agree. I mean, he was an MVP, and as we mentioned last week when we talked about this, he would only be the third MVP to not return to his team. The other two retired, including Jim Brown, when he wrapped up his Hall of Fame career. But, Phil, I want to put you in Mark Schlereth's shoes for just a moment. You're a preeminent reporter who's got contacts all over the place. An NFL source in Denver tells you that deal is as close to being done as possible. Is he that far wrong? Did somebody leak this out to try and help Aaron Rodgers get more money with the Packers? I mean, why would Schlereth report this the day before the draft and then nothing happened over the weekend during the draft?
Well, let me just say this. I'm not hammering him or anybody like that because I've been there. You know, we were out front and reporting the Frank Martin news.
Right.
And we were very much stating that Frank Martin was not going to be back at South Carolina. And we explained everything that we knew and where it was coming from and laid it out there, didn't hold anything back, laid it all out there. Everything that we knew, we put out there. And our information, and I'll stand by it to this day, our information was dead on at that point in time. You know, at the point in time that we reported it, that was the decision that had been made. Now, you know, we couldn't foresee the Board of Trustees stepping in, state politicians stepping in and all that, and changing the direction of that particular decision. So I believe that Schlereth, from his contacts with Denver, where he was a standout player, certainly he has great contacts. He's in that city. And I'm sure that they told him in today's reporting, with everything being instantaneous, you know, you're reporting in real time. So in that real time, when he got that information, I'm sure that's exactly where it was from what the people in Denver involved with it were telling him. But that doesn't preclude something else happening 2 hours later, a day later, 3 days later. People change their minds. Others become involved. And what you think was going to happen right then and there in live time, right then, it changes because it didn't get done right then and there. So, no, I wouldn't. I'm sure what he was reporting at that time was accurate info. You know, some people were a little bit perturbed that Rodgers didn't want this out apparently, and people were perturbed that it came out right here at the draft to take away from everything that was going on to some degree. I mean, nothing totally overshadows the draft, but it did make for a nice big side story related to the draft.
Well, it made sense, too, because Denver had a first top 10 pick. I think they were 9th right after the Panthers. So I kept waiting after the Panthers made their selection. I kept anticipating, after J.C. Horn goes off the board, all right, here comes that big trade. And we didn't hear anything about it, so I was just a little taken aback. And I'm like you. I don't fault Mark Schlereth for reporting what he believed to be true. I'm just curious, was there an agenda behind all of this? Did somebody, even Aaron Rodgers, was this a way to make sure the Packers realized how valuable he actually is to them?
Well, you can report. You can think you've got a scoop in your sources, and you can be reporting erroneous information from the get-go, okay? But a guy in his position, as in touch and as in tune as he is with the Denver franchise, I can't see him being given bad information,
Right.
Pat, what you got?
Oh, just one interesting but true little factoid about the Aaron Rodgers and Packers saga. You guys may have seen over the weekend, Bart Starr played exactly 16 seasons for the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre played exactly 16 seasons for the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers has now played exactly 16 seasons for the Green Bay Packers. Is it a coincidence? We don't know yet. But there is a bit of a history with the Packers and keeping their quarterbacks for exactly 16 years. Just saying. If you could see the stare Phil is giving me right now.
I mean, that just doesn't, okay, fine and dandy. So this doesn't, I'm trying to figure out, okay, so automatically they trade their quarterbacks after year 16, a Hall of Fame quarterback? No.
If you sized up those three players that Pat just brought up in terms of their value to Green Bay, where does Aaron Rodgers fit in that trio?
Well, I mean, Bart Starr won more championships. Bart Starr, helped them reestablish themselves as the premier team in the NFL. in the 60s. Brett Favre helped revitalize them when they were a moribund franchise in the, what would that have been, the early late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, he brought something there because they were going through quarterbacks left and right during that time, and had Magic Man not gotten hurt, Don Majkowski. And Don Majkowski wasn't a bad quarterback, but he got hurt, and that opened the door for Brett Favre to step in, and the rest was history. But, I mean, they'd gone through guys like Lynn Dickey at quarterback. They'd gone through guys like Whitehurst. David Whitehurst was a starting quarterback for the Packers for a time. I mean, they just had a litany of quarterbacks. And after going through all that, the Packers have had 2 starting quarterbacks since roughly, when did Favre take over? About 94, 92? 92. So since 92, they've had 2 starting quarterbacks. So that's a hell of a run
no doubt,
for any NFL team to have that kind of success. That's, like you said, 16 and now 16. That's 30-something years of good quarterbacking, 2 Hall of Famers. How often is a franchise going to run across that? So I'm just going to go back and say, I don't know what the root of the problem is here. And nobody does. He was at the Kentucky Derby Saturday. Mike Tirico tried to get it out of him, and he would not go on camera to talk to him or NBC Sports. He just said he did say that he indicated to Tirico that it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. That there isn't this great, as he put it, there's not this great a chasm. I think that was the word he used.
Yep.
This great chasm between Rodgers and the Packers. So we'll see. We'll see. I think that I think and hope that things can get worked out. Speaking of quarterbacks, you guys on Friday night got a chance to talk to one that's coming into South Carolina in 22 in Braden Davis. That's going to bring a lot of hope to the Gamecock program, Chris.
Yeah, it was really interesting to visit with him. Committed on Friday right as we went on the air with South Carolina out of Delaware. Had multiple offers and narrowed it down and decided South Carolina was the place to go. So we were fortunate to have him on, and a very well-spoken young man, and sounds like he is ready to step in and go to work with the Gamecocks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot of things. There's a lot of great things that South Carolina has going on. Coach Beamer, you could just tell that he's set in a different culture at South Carolina. He's getting the program turned around, getting them in the right direction, and it's just something that I want to be a part of.
What did you see when you used that term culture? What did you see in how the coaches were trying to shift from a team that won just 2 ball games last year to hopefully they think a winning program? Where are you seeing that shift a little bit in terms of culture?
Right. Well, I mean, I've talked to a couple of my friends that are actually on the team. I've talked to Debo. I've talked to Marshawn. And they can both just testify to the type of person that Coach Beamer is, the direction that the program is headed. He just brings a different energy, and I've been able to tell such through just the phone calls and Zoom calls that I've had with him.
Braden Davis, who committed to the Gamecocks a bit earlier today, 4-star recruit in the 2022 class at quarterback. And Braden, you mentioned you talked to some of your friends. How comfortable is it coming from Delaware down to South Carolina to have either friends or former teammates that are on the Gamecock team right now? Did that make your decision a little bit easier?
Yeah, I mean, definitely having people down there that I know, it definitely helps because, throughout the recruitment process, there's a lot of vagueness that you're not 100% sure about some of the things that schools tell you. But, I mean, after I've been able to talk to those people and, ask more questions, they just validated everything that Coach Beamer is saying. And, that definitely helps.
Braden, I'm curious, most of us have not had the pleasure of being 6'5" and playing quarterback, and you're listed as a dual threat. What's it like when you're in the pocket? And I guess what I want to get a sense of is, how much do you utilize your mobility right now in high school, and how do you see that changing as you move forward? Maybe even more. Some quarterbacks utilize it more, as like Russell Wilson or Cam Newton. They actually run maybe more as they get into college. Are you see yourself more as a guy that wants to sit in the pocket, or do you think you like throwing on the run a little bit more?
To answer your question, I see myself as a guy who really can do both. I'm an accurate passer, and obviously I can make things happen on my legs. I ran a 4.6 laser 40 the other day. So, I mean, I'm definitely that type of guy who's versatile and dynamic and can do all types of things. But as far as a preference, I mean, I just do whatever my coach would need me to do. If that's run the ball 100 times a game, then that's what I'm going to do. If it's sit back and pass, sit in the pocket all game, and just pick defenses apart, then that's the plan, whatever the coach needs and whatever's going to help the team succeed.
You know, Braden, you also are coming out at a time, into college where because of COVID, you guys didn't get as much time on campuses or probably get to as many games as the guys that came out before you.
Yeah.
So I just wondered, have you gotten to go to a game at Williams-Brice Stadium, or have you seen them on TV? What's your kind of perception of the fan base and what the atmosphere is like on a Saturday?
Yeah, so, I mean, I haven't been able to get out and go take, like, a game visit. Obviously, they've offered me just recently, and we've been in this pandemic. I have gone and seen a couple games on YouTube, just watching stuff from last year. But, yeah, I mean, not too much else. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Pre-pandemic, you're going to like Williams-Brice on a Saturday. It's going to be noisy. It's going to be wild, and you didn't quite get that. And of course, a lot of guys, that would have been coming out in the last couple of years didn't get that. So it's something. There is going to be a great atmosphere you're going to get to see when you get there.
Yeah, I've seen lots of videos of the stadium. The towel thing that they do. All that stuff is awesome. Yeah, every day, all the interactions that I've had with any fans, everything's positive. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, nothing like getting a 4-star quarterback ranked in the top 5 in the country in his position, dual threat quarterback here. Nothing like getting him to energize your fan base in the spring, going into the summer, get some momentum going towards the June recruiting period, which is going to be wild with all the official visits taking place. You follow that up with the announcement of Tyrese Ross that he's transferring. You follow that up with a commitment today from a linebacker, edge rusher, who had been committed to Georgia. Gamecocks have got some mo on their side in recruiting now.
It seems like they've done a really, really good job in a relatively short period of time, Phil, considering the staff took over in December, and they've already compiled a pretty good-looking start to their class, and in a COVID year. You can only begin, if you're a Gamecock fan, you can only begin to wonder what happens when this staff is turned loose fully and they can go out and visit and have official visits and a typical recruiting calendar. The sky may be the limit for these guys, but at least the early returns. Now, as we've followed elections over the years, they don't necessarily end up the way they start, but early returns look awfully good for USC.
Yeah, that's now with the commitment today. They've got 4 commitments in the class. And with Ross, I'm not counting Ross there. What I've got to figure out here is where Ross will fall. And depending on when he enrolls in school, if he enrolls, the thing is, he's got to count somewhere in your initials. And there's no room in the 21 class at this particular time if everybody else comes in, along with those who enrolled at midterm. By my numbers, there's no more room. You can only bring in 25 initials. And if he comes in not until like July or August, then he could count on the 22 class. There's a time there when you cross that line where you can count towards the next incoming class. And so that's what South Carolina did. Like in this 21 class, they've got like 4 guys counting in this 21 class who actually played their first year at South Carolina in 19, but had to count because when they enrolled in school, they could count them towards that in the 21 class. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll ask him when we have him on here in just a few minutes what his plans are along those lines. I always have a hard time. I give estimates about numbers and where guys fall because it's just without knowing 100% certainty where they're putting a guy at a particular time in what particular class. We're just sort of guessing. But we do know they have 4 high school players committed in the 22 class, Chris.
Excuse me, Phil. And for this upcoming class, the 2021 team, the rosters are expanded, correct, because of all the seniors that could potentially return to play another season because of COVID.
The super seniors, correct, that you want to call them, I guess super seniors is a way to describe those guys. Yeah. I mean, they'll go over the 85 cap. I guess if you have some guys who want to come back, you don't have to make room for them by kicking anybody off. So that's a good thing. And we will talk with Tyrese Ross coming up after the break.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107. The point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107. The
point. Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. A poll shows a majority of Americans agree that the government should help people stay in their own homes as they grow old and not have to move into institutional settings.
There's a surprising level of bipartisan agreement on some proposals that could help make that happen, according to the survey from the Associated Press and ORC Center for Public Affairs Research. Still, Republicans lag Democrats in support of some policies. 42% favor government long-term care insurance for all Americans, compared with 78% of Democrats. But when it comes to more funding to help low-income people age at home, half of Republicans and about 3/4 of Democrats favor that. There's also bipartisan alignment for tax breaks to purchase long-term care coverage. I'm Julie Walker.
The Senate's top Republican says President Biden's $4 trillion infrastructure package will get no votes from members of his party.
Senator Mitch McConnell says his party is willing to support upwards of $6 billion on roads and bridges, but he blasts the president's plan as, quote, a $4.1 trillion grab bag, which has infrastructure in it, but a whole lot of other stuff. In addition to funding infrastructure projects, the president's plan would include trillions for everything from in-home care to the Green New Deal. In McConnell's words, if it's going to be about infrastructure, let's make it about infrastructure. Bob Agnew reporting.
Pandemic-worried travelers are returning to the skies in the United States and eating out again in Greece as the vaccine rollout is sending new cases and deaths tumbling in more affluent countries, contrasting with a worsening disaster in India. In the U.S., the average number of new cases per day fell below 50,000 for the first time since October. Nearly 1.67 million people were screened at U.S. airport checkpoints on Sunday, the highest mark since the virus took over a year ago. On Wall Street, the Dow by 238 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son, founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
Oh, whale! Guys, whale! Wow, whale.
Oh, that's a big whale. Okay. Whale. Oh, no, whale!
The tides can turn quick on the water. Progressive's boat insurance has you covered. Get a quote today in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com.
Well, at least it wasn't a shark, am I right?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
3-time Indianapolis 500 champ Bobby Unser has died.
3-time Indianapolis 500 winner Bobby Unser has died at age 87. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway says Unser died Sunday at his home in Albuquerque, New Mexico, of natural causes. Unser and his brother Al Unser Jr. are the only pair of brothers to win the Indy 500. Bobby Unser's victories in the greatest spectacle in racing came in 1968, 1975, and 1981. The 81 victory was controversial. Unser crossed the finish line ahead of Mario Andretti, but officials ruled Unser had passed cars illegally during the race while exiting pit lane under caution. A penalty docked Unser 1 position and made Andretti the winner. But on appeal, Unser was reinstated as winner in October of that year. It was the 35th and final victory of Bobby Unser's career. I'm Mike Gracia.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The
I'm
Point.
Kimberly Cockrell from Lexington. I work closely now with MAD South Carolina. In 1993, my best friend Nancy was killed in a drunk driving crash. MAD was there for me and will be there for you if you've been affected by a drunk or drugged crash.
Friends, this is Kevin Cohen. If you've been impacted by one of these tragedies, let MAD help you. Online, it's mad.org or call them 748-7333. That's 748-7333 for MAD.
Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Busy Monday night here on Sports Talk across South Carolina. Glad you're with us. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel, now joined by the fourth member of our crew here on Sports Talk tonight, a guy that plans to be an important member of the USC football team here in the fall, playing one of those safety positions. We welcome into Sports Talk Tyrese Ross, who has announced he is transferring to USC from Washington State. Tyrese, how are you?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Good to have you with us. Hope you had a great weekend. How's it been for you since you made the announcement that you are headed to South Carolina? What's been going on with you since then?
Oh, man, it's been kind of hectic, just getting a lot of love from the fans and stuff like that, but really just trying to, get in the playbook as quick as I can, but definitely just been hectic with, the fans reaching out and showing their love support. So,
you like that?
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
Tell me about the playbook. How is it a difficult playbook? I mean, you've looked at playbooks your entire football life, I'm sure. How's this one compare?
I want to say, it's a difficult playbook. It's obviously a defense that I'm kind of familiar with. Just terminology, not too much, about it being hard, but just the terminology and making sure I have those small things down pat. So just trying to get locked in, man.
One thing you said when I first talked to you, when you went into the portal and South Carolina got involved and you talked to them and you said, hey, they're looking for somebody who kind of plays with an edge back there, a DJ Swearinger type of player at safety, maybe a little mouthy, maybe a little nasty, and they kind of feel like that's you. Is that you?
Oh, that's most definitely me. The whole South Carolina nation can expect that type of energy. That's the type of guy I am. That's the type of energy I bring to the field. So most definitely.
What do you think you do best as a safety?
I think my versatility, being able to make the play when those plays need to be made. The vocal leader and just being a guy that everyone on defense can depend on. I don't really see myself having something that stands out, but it's my versatility to be able to, just really make plays or make that play when we need it.
Do you prefer the big hits over an interception, or would you rather get your hands on the ball and try and make a big play going back the other way?
I'd rather get the ball back to the offense. So whether it's a turnover, it's a strip sack, forced fumble, big hit, whatever it is, I'd rather get the ball back to the offense. So I'm more concerned on turnovers.
Yeah.
Tyrese Ross transfer from Washington State, joining the Gamecocks and joining us tonight here on Sports Talk. And Tyrese, you come from a football family. Your father and also your brother are currently now playing at North Carolina. So what influence did you get from them, and how big an impact were both your father and your brother on your football career?
Oh, my father and my brother have a very big impact on my football career. They definitely have my support. They support me a lot, and just whatever I do. But that biggest thing was just, going somewhere that I felt like I wanted. So, they always want to show love and support, but they definitely, was a big process of me picking South Carolina. Just being able to have their support and having them behind me was very big.
Take us through your career at Washington State. As a redshirt freshman, you played in 13 games. Didn't play all that much last year. What happened from your freshman year over to your sophomore year? And was playing time maybe part of the reason you got into the portal and looking for maybe a better fit?
Well, no, it really wasn't playing time. It was more of location, you know. I'm a guy who's from the South, and, you know, COVID kind of affected it, you know, the way that we saw the NCAA and how we saw college football in general. And so, you know, with that happening, playing in the Pac-12, we were only limited to, about 4 or 5 games. And, you know, when we had that time to sit back and reflect, I really thought to myself, you know, I don't really have no one at home, you know, that can come watch me in these times like this and things like that. So it really didn't have anything to do with playtime. It was more of a, you know, wanting to be back home around my family and somewhere where my family can watch me play.
Mm-hmm. Visiting with Tyrese Ross for a couple more minutes here on Sports Talk. So how did it end up for you being South Carolina? You had other schools coming at you. You got your brother at North Carolina. I think they were interested as well. Why, at the end of the day, did you go with the Gamecocks? What did they tell you, show you? What did you feel that stood out the most to you?
Really, man, when Coach Beamer and the rest of the staff gave me a call, man, I think it's too how excited they were. So, you know, we chopped it up for a little bit, but speaking to the whole staff and hearing, you know, what their plans were with me and the rest of the team, you know, it was something that really got me excited and fired up. And, you know, me and Coach White, we kept talking about it. You know, if we can make it happen, we're gonna make it happen. So that's what we did, man. And I'm really excited about it. I'm ready to get going.
What do you think it'll be like playing for your position coach, Torian Gray?
I think it'll be one of the best experiences I had for football just so far. You know, just being that Torian Gray is a guy who's been around the game for so long. You know, being able to just soak up knowledge from him the way I can. You know, that's really one of the things I'm looking forward to. Just being able to take whatever he teaches me and apply it to my game.
So in the last, 3 or 4 days, the Gamecocks have gotten a 4-star quarterback commitment. They've gotten you to transfer from Washington State. They picked up a pretty good linebacker prospect out of Georgia today, who you might be familiar with. What do you think of the direction that things are moving in right now? I know it's just spring and summer talk, and we'll find out more come August, September. But what do you think of the direction things are moving?
Man, we're on the road, man. We're trying to keep that road going. You know, that's one thing that I mentioned, and Coach Beamer mentioned to me, is we're trying to get this thing rolling, man. So we really believe we have the ability to compete in this league, and that's what we're trying to do. And it's showing these past couple of weeks, guys are jumping on board. I feel like people are so I'm excited.
Yeah. So your situation is you'll have, 3 years of eligibility?
Yeah, I have 3 years of eligibility left.
Okay. When can you come into school? When can you enroll?
I believe I can enroll because I was in class this semester. I can enroll in the summer session. So I should be up in the summer session.
That'll be your plan to come in the summer?
Right.
Yeah. When you report, about what size will you report at this point, you think?
As far as weight?
Yeah, height and weight.
Height and weight, I'll be about 6'1", 196.
And bringing the load.
Most definitely. Just been training these last couple of days and weeks like that, so definitely put on some weight and move around with it, feel pretty good. So definitely ready, coming in and attack it, coming into shape.
You got any messages like you'd like to put out on Twitter or here on our show to any SEC receivers who might venture into your neighborhood?
No, I'm a man of actions, man. They'll find out, though. It ain't too much I really like to say, but they'll definitely find out.
Okay. You don't sport a grill, do you? Do you have a grill?
No. I love it. That's the old. That's the younger me.
That's the what?
That's the younger me.
That's the younger you. Hey, listen, we appreciate you being on with us. Congratulations on this move. I know that Gamecock fans were excited, and I'm sure the coaching staff was extremely excited. Look forward to seeing what you can do with the Gamecocks. We should be seeing a lot out of you, I have a feeling. So good luck with everything.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
You got it. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Tyrese Ross joining us here on Sports Talk. It's a dangerous thing to be compared to DJ Swearinger. When people,
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, when you're a safety and people mention you in the same breath as DJ Swearinger, that raises the bar pretty high.
Well, and he made the comment when you asked him, would you prefer the big hit or get the football back? DJ got several interceptions during his career, but I think most folks remember him for knocking people into the stands. I mean, he just came with bad intentions. And we had a first tonight on Sports Talk, Phil. I don't know that I've ever heard an athlete that actually mentioned he was an inch shorter than he's listed in the program.
Yeah.
If you look at his bio at Washington State, they list him at 6'2". He said he's going to come to South Carolina at 6'1" and 195. So I'm wondering if the altitude or further you go north, the taller you get. Maybe when you get down south, it's the humidity that packs us down a little bit closer to the ground, perhaps?
Maybe it's all that hitting has
maybe so
has shrunken him a little bit. All right, Tyrese Ross, good pickup there. Thing about DJ Swearinger, I'll never forget, he played for Shell Dula at Greenwood High School. And Shell Dula said back when Swearinger was being recruited, he said he is the smartest football player I've ever had.
Wow.
And that covers a lot of territory when you're talking about a Hall of Fame state championship coach like Shell Dula. And he said, yeah, when I was doing some background research and getting some comments from him, he said he is the smartest football player. And you know what? He not only did he play with an unbelievable level of physicality and what else would you say, swagger and all that kind of stuff. He played with a lot of smarts. I mean, you have to be smart back there. You have to be around the football. You have to know where the play is heading in front of you before it happens. And he was always kind of right there on the spot.
He's always going to be remembered for, I think, 2 or 3 different plays in South Carolina. One that is on an endless loop, I'm sure, in the locker room was the hit he had against Clemson. And then he stood over I can't remember the running back or wide receiver for the Tigers that he stood over and taunted after the hit. And then the 2 plays he made against Arkansas one year where, if I'm not mistaken, he got called for a personal foul. There was a questionable personal foul, and on the next play, he had an interception that he ran back for a touchdown and threw the ball in the stands.
Yes.
It just kind of summed up the energy and the talent, first off, that he had, but also just the raw ability. And just if you wanted to make a football player, I think DJ Swearinger would be a pretty good mold that you would use to craft a football player, especially a defensive back.
All right, a couple of things real quick. We have a new guest joining us at the bottom of the hour, Landon Powell, head baseball coach at North Greenville. Yeah, they won a championship over the weekend. And we're going to talk with him about that as they move towards the D2 playoffs. Of course, the former Gamecock great. Always enjoy talking baseball with him. And Anderson University, you've always wanted to be a head football coach, right? They have posted the position of head football coach for their new team that will start play in 2024. So that's now been posted. If you're interested in being the head coach of the Anderson University Trojans, you can, as they say, apply online. And we'll be back.
The lady in black doesn't age. She just gets tougher. And Throwback Weekend is when she likes to remind all the friends, families, drivers, and dreamers just how they got here. Business up front and parties in the back. Over 70 years of history held together with one famous black stripe. Too tough to tame? I guess you'll have to find out. Darlington Throwback Weekend, May 7th through 9th. Get your tickets at darlingtonraceway.com.
South Carolina, just right.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology at Florence Darlington Technical College specializes in sophisticated manufacturing services and workforce development training. The SIMT offers rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, advanced machining, and business incubation services to clients from across the state and nation, plus social media listening services and rentals of conferencing and training spaces. The SIMT also houses an 800-seat auditorium, a conference center that can seat more than 1,200 for dinner or a luncheon, and numerous classroom spaces with state-of-the-art presentation technologies. Visit our website at simt.com or call 866-304-7468 for more information. The SIMT, technology to grow your business.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
Welcome to Tiny stories. Today we're with Sonia, who recently won $500 on a scratch-off. I am such a loser. I'm so confused. Ever been to a family reunion? Not if I can help it. My dad's family rents a beach house every year. I've always said I can't afford to go. I am so sorry. I'm assigned a sleeping bag on the porch with cousins I've never met. Been there. Even got the t-shirt. You may be cousin Tina. No. You know what? That's it for the South Carolina Education Lottery. Tell your story at tellyourtinystory.com.
All of us love sports, but not all sports are created equal. College sports have big budgets, dedicated alumni networks, and corporate sponsorships. Professional sports have even deeper pockets, millionaire owners, lucrative TV and radio deals, and merchandise sales. High school sports have you. Everyone agrees high school sports give us plenty of reasons to cheer. And now's a great time for us to give back. Supporting your hometown high school won't cost you much, but it will go a long way to ensuring the games we love the most are here to stay. South Carolina high school sports. They're good for our kids, good for our community, and best of all, they're good for you.
This message presented by the South Carolina High School League and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk here with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, if there's one thing baseball fans love as much as their teams, it's being on the water.
That's right, Phil. DNR wants to remind boaters to file a float plan before you go on the water this summer. Let family or friends know where you're going and when you plan to return. Be specific and always wear your life jacket. It just might save your life. Take a boater education course and have a great summer.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia. All
right, coming up, Landon Powell here at the bottom of the hour. Lots of recruiting coming your way after Coach Powell has finished up with us, so stay tuned. We got a lot to get over. Again, thanks to go over, get over, and go over. But thanks again to Tyrese Ross for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk. Really enjoyed talking to him. And let's update a few other important notes of the day. A lot of things that are going on we want to tell you about. Our poll question, which is one of those important things. Are you in favor of full capacity for in-state sports venues this fall? I mean, that's where it's trending. Are you in favor of it? Overwhelmingly, 202 votes in our first day. 93.6% say yeah. Yeah. 6.4% say no. I shouldn't put it down. See, that was bad. Let me do that again. 93.6% say yeah, and 6.4% say no. I don't want to show any leaning one way or the other there, you know.
That's skewed. I voted 10 times for yes.
Is that what happened?
I think I've altered the poll. Anderson, hoping that Governor McMaster will see it.
How about Danny Ford for Anderson University football coach? In 2024, he'll only be about 75. Was he 71? 71?
Well, how old was Bill Curry when he started the Georgia State or restarted the Georgia State football program?
I don't think he was in his 70s.
No, probably not. But, I mean, they went old school to at least get it on its feet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Anderson will give us – Anderson, if my number's right, Anderson will give us 12 football playing schools in our state. I think Erskine made 11. I think Anderson makes 12. How about this story that came out? I was alerted to this story. I think it was posted on TigerNet. Somebody sent me a link to it, and, of course, was interested in it. This this Brad Brownell story. TigerNet jumped on it and got insight from the Clemson basketball side and from Dan Radakovich, but apparently at the ACC tournament back in March during a practice, according to this complaint filed by a former player's father, and maybe the former player himself, and Radakovich used, Brownell used some spicy language towards this walk-on player at Clemson. And I don't know I think maybe the father was in the stands and maybe he videoed it and he put it on. He goes on Facebook in the last couple of days and makes an issue out of it. This father happens to be the former mayor of the fine city of Myrtle Beach. And he goes on, his last name's McBride, I believe. Yes. And is that what it is, McBride? Yeah, I think it's McBride. I can go back and look at the details. So
that is correct, Mark McBride.
Yeah, here's Mark McBride and his son O'Neal McBride. His son O'Neal McBride was a walk-on. And he goes to Facebook and he recounts the incident, which he said Brownell used abusive language towards his son and another walk-on. And that Brownell eventually blamed the loss to Miami on the scout team. Okay. And Radakovich, when approached by TigerNet, addressed it and said the school looked into it and has moved on. He said it's a circumstance they took seriously when it was brought to them, and they looked into it, determined there was no violation of a university code of conduct. He said Brad understands there's a high standard, and he works hard to meet that. I will tell you, over the last few months, there has been a lot of pressure on our student athletes and a lot of our coaches, given the COVID requirements and the changes that they have had to go through. It doesn't excuse any of that, but it's a circumstance where our folks looked into it, and Brad has had conversations with the student, and our individuals had a conversation with the parent, and we are looking move forward. And asked if Brownell said the things that the parent alleges, and he said he can't comment because he wasn't there. So again, this is player-coach interaction, and coaches use foul language all the time. They say bad things to their players all the time. I guess, in this era, in this atmosphere of the world that has moved into the sports world too, you just can't hurt people's feelings. I don't know what's off limits anymore. You drop a four-letter word, you drop a certain four-letter word, that is viewed as off limits in today's, sports world. It's nothing that if you're on the playing field, why do you think when you listen to an NBA game, for example, you hear the audio go out repeatedly? Because they're running a delay and trying to cut out all the cursing that the players are saying and the coaches. But it is absolutely not a second thought for a player in any of the major sports to drop the F-bomb during play at any time. Am I wrong about that? They drop the F-bomb, they drop the S-word, whatever. It's natural to them. And so, in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the moment, even in the heat of a practice, things are going to come out of a player's mouth, out of a coach's mouth that they ordinarily wouldn't say, but it just happens. Why? He didn't put hands on anybody.
Exactly.
He didn't make them run the arena steps till their tongues were dragging the floor. He didn't punish them that way. He used some salty, uncomplimentary language. That's part of the coach-player experience, if you ask me.
Phil, there are about 2 or 3 words that I can think of that a coach could use that might qualify as abusive language towards a player. We all know what those words are. But aside from that, you're right. Unless Brad Brownell, which I don't believe in a second would happen, unless he laid hands on this player, this is a non-story. This is a walk-on, first off. And the only way you're going to get an opportunity to play somewhere is to prove yourself on the floor. And this is not the way to do it. To have your father come out, I can't imagine how embarrassing that would be for the player. I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. what Brad Brownell allegedly said or didn't say to him can't be nearly as bad as his dad going on Facebook to try and defend him. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And Brad Brownell is not a coach as long as he's been at Clemson for not trying to motivate his players. And Phil, in every walk of life, Pat's had it happen to him. I've certainly had it happen to me. People yell at you to try and motivate you. It's always worked for me. And that's what basketball, that's what football, you want to hamstring. How about Dabo Swinney? Could you imagine a story like this coming out of Dabo? You don't think Dabo curses at his players? You don't think Frank Martin does? We all know the mindset of people believe Frank Martin goes overboard, which I think is also ridiculous. But that's how coaches have to try and get the best. That's their job, to get the best out of their players. This is a non-story and an embarrassing one for O'Neal McBride that is brought forth by his dad.
Okay, we'll hit a break here on Sports Talk. We'll talk more about this coming up. Give you recruiting. Landon Powell, after the break, getting another championship trophy at North Greenville.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Overcast this evening with on and off showers possible, the low dipping to 67. Tomorrow, very warm, and like today, a 60% chance of showers and storms. Look for a high of 87. The rain should clear out on Wednesday afternoon. The rest of the weekend looks nicer. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Declaring the COVID-19 pandemic absolutely managed despite lagging vaccinations, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey says she will end a state health order meant to guard against the spread of an illness that has killed nearly 11,000 people statewide. Citing improved infection rates, fewer hospitalizations, and more widespread immunizations, Ivey said the current health order recommending that people follow recommendations and requiring some precautions for senior citizens and long-term care facilities will end on May 31st. A state of emergency declared because of the health threat will end July the 6th. Deaths have declined sharply across the United States in recent weeks, and Alabama has followed the trend. On Wall Street, the Dow by 238 points, the Nasdaq dropped 67. This is SRN News.
Are you ready to make your money work for you rather than you working for your money? Dave Ramsey here. Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, serving the Midlands since 1936. Palmetto Citizens is not a mega bank, so you can count on good old-fashioned customer service and the profits going back to you. Plus, they care about your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org, federally insured by the NCUA.
What's this truck pulling up in our driveway?
It's the folks from Dominion Energy. They're here to recycle our old fridge in the garage.
Why?
Because it's just sitting there wasting energy, and we can use the extra space, not to mention the extra cash.
Extra cash?
Yes, we get $50 cash and pickup is free.
Sounds too good to be true.
See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Spring is more than pollen season. It also means it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection at your home to determine any possible issues. Palmetto Exterminators offers the best termite agreement anywhere, but they do so much more. They offer complete pest control, mosquito control, wildlife trapping and removal, and nobody, I mean nobody, can offer you more peace of mind at your home or business. Now, how do I know that? Well, I never tell you to use someone like Palmetto Exterminators unless I practice what I preach. Now, I've been a customer for 19 years, and they are wonderful. My guy Ron Byers and his team over at Palmetto Exterminators, they've looked after my family forever. We have no pest control issues whatsoever. But if we did, all it takes is one phone call, and Palmetto Exterminators will fix it. It's pretty simple. Call Palmetto Exterminators and cross pest control right off your list of concerns. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net, or give my guy Ron a call, 254-5833.
Hey, honey, I hear they have the COVID vaccine over at True Pharmacy.
Yes, I heard that too. And the pharmacist said they have the Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine.
So how do we sign up to get it? I hear they go super quick.
Just log onto their website at truerxsc.com, click on the COVID vaccines link, and choose your location.
But what if there are no appointments available?
They refresh their website every time the state sends the new shipment of vaccines.
Great. I'll put that on my to-do list right now.
Remember, it's truerxsc.com.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Back we are here on Sports Talk. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. In just a moment, Landon Powell will join us. Update South Carolina in the baseball polls this week. Baseball America, 15. Collegiate baseball, number 12. Clemson's number 27 in collegiate baseball. Perfect Game, number 16. USA Today Coaches, number 18. D1 baseball, number 19. RPIs around the state. Gamecocks are 15, Upstate 31, Clemson 51, Coastal Carolina 95, Wofford 104, College of Charleston 167, Presbyterian 177, Charleston Southern 234, Winthrop 251, and the Citadel 271. But the team with the number one RPI in the Conference Carolinas baseball standings this year, number one with another championship 3 years in a row, fourth time in school history, North Greenville University, and we are joined by their outstanding young coach, Landon Powell, and congratulations. They're going to have to put another trophy case there in the stadium to handle all these trophies you're bringing home.
I appreciate that, Phil. I appreciate that. You know, my favorite word in your introduction there was young coach. I like that.
I think of you as forever young. You know, you're just one of those guys that doesn't age.
Well, my age still starts with a 3.
Good.
I'm grateful for that, and but I'm on my last year of that, so I'm not looking forward to that whole 40 thing. But no, we've had a great season, Phil. We had a great weekend at the conference tournament, and kind of had some magic get together. Magic happen, which is fun in baseball when the boys all come together and they just start clicking, and it was fun to watch. We scored 70-something runs in 5 games, and it was just they left no doubt, and it was really fun to sit there and watch them and be a part of it. And as a head coach, you spend a lot of time and energy recruiting and coaching and developing and trying to get your team to mesh, and every once in a while it comes together, and you just get to kind of sit back and put your hands in your pocket and let them play. And that's kind of what happened at the tournament this weekend. It wasn't a whole lot I had to do. I just got to go watch some baseball.
And you had to come up through the losers bracket, so I mean that made it a little a little more difficult for you after the loss. But you worked your way back through the losers bracket to get to that championship game, and then you left no doubt.
Yeah, and we lost the first game of the tournament 11-9, and it was a funky baseball game. The wind was blowing out about 25 miles per hour, and there were 7 or 8 home runs in the game, so it was an interesting game. But yeah, my guys didn't let that affect them. They felt like the game kind of was stolen from them, the first one, and they knew that they were better than that. And I think we won the next one like 21-6, and the next one like 12-5, the next one 13-1, and then the last one in the championship we won 15-1. So it was an interesting tournament for sure. So got home about 3:30 a.m. last night, and just been relaxing and kind of been enjoying it today.
Sure.
Landon Powell, head baseball coach of North Greenville, the Crusaders, once again, the Conference Carolinas champions, joining us here on Sports Talk tonight. And Landon, I'm curious about Sunday's finale. You had to go through a team much like your squad that has sort of been the standard in Division II baseball, certainly in Conference Carolinas. How impressed were you with the play of your team to take out Mount Olive as easily as you did?
Yeah, Mount Olive's a great program, and when I got in this league 6 years ago, they were obviously the creme de la creme, and so we knew that they were the team we wanted to beat, and we've been fortunate in this league. We won 4 championships in the last 6 years, and so we've had a lot of success against Mount Olive, but they beat us this year 3 out of 4 at their place, and that stung. It knocked us. We were number 2 in the polls, and they jumped us, and that allowed them to win the regular season championship, but they won 2 one-run games against us at their place, and so we had, we felt like we had some revenge for them, and we knew we were good enough to beat them, and just felt like we had to go play our game. And they're a great team, great program. They have some really good starting pitching, but fortunately for us, they were out of that starting pitching for that championship game, and our guys were swinging it really well, and the rest is history. So it was a good tournament, a great way to finish it, and whenever you get to win a championship game against a top program like Mount Olive, but do it in that fashion, 15-1. It was special.
Landon, you're a former catcher, so I think you'd probably be the best person to ask of this. With the way your team swings the bats, you've got 2 guys batting over 400, a third right there, and then 370s, 359, and also 346 in your lineup. How would you pitch to your baseball team?
That's a good question. That's a good question, and I don't know if I want to give the answer out over the live radio.
I understand.
Honestly, we're a tough team to face offensively. We, every guy in our starting lineup's hitting over 300, or they might all be hitting over 330. Every guy in our starting lineup. We had an exceptional season offensively. I mean, it's the best offensive team I've had for sure, and I think we scored over 100 runs more than the next team in our conference.
Wow.
So which is just kind of nuts when you think about it. Our catcher, John Michael Fail, is a special player. He was 5A state player of the year coming out of high school out of Boiling Springs, was conference freshman of the year, first team All-American as a freshman. He hit 390 with 18 home runs as a true freshman. So fast forward now to his junior year. I guess technically it's redshirt sophomore year because of COVID, but this year he's hit 440 with 21 home runs, 73 RBIs, and he's done all that in 44 games. So less games than played in his freshman year. And he had an incredible tournament. I think he had 5 home runs in the tournament, was conference player of the year, and then he was tournament MVP. So you have him and about 3 or 4 other guys in that lineup that had great years. Another kid named Pat Monty from Fort Dorchester. He was conference freshman of the year this year as our starting third baseman as a true freshman, and I think he hit 4 or 5 home runs in the tournament. So it's been fun. We had a leadoff hitter, a kid from Hawaii named Garrick Octavio, all the way from Hilo, Hawaii. And I think he hit 465 in the regular season. And so we can swing it. We definitely put up a lot of offensive numbers. If we get good pitching, we're pretty hard to beat. And it was just fun this weekend to go down there and swing the bats like we did and score all those runs. I'm an offensive guy. That was my time at South Carolina with Coach Tanner and Coach Tobin. We loved to bash. We loved to hit home runs. That was our philosophy. We didn't win a lot of pitchers' duels. And so that's my brand of baseball as well. I kind of took that from Coach Tanner, and we like to go swing it and score a bunch of runs, and we were fortunate to do that this weekend.
Well, you got a hitting coach who back in the day liked to hit the long ball too. Didn't particularly like to just, have to run hard on the bases. He liked to trot. One Trey Dyson. And I got to believe that he's brought a great hitting philosophy to your program and works well with these players.
Yeah, for sure. I think Trey's done a tremendous, and this is his first year with us, and he's come in, and me and him, align a lot with some of our philosophies, and that's because we played together, and we were coached by the same coaches in college, so we think a lot of the same things when it comes to offense, and So yeah, Trey's done a tremendous job. Yeah, but I think it's cool. We have a very well-rounded offensive team. I mean, we're not just a bunch of power hitters. Our leadoff guy that I mentioned from Hawaii, he hit 465, but 0 home runs. I mean, he's a line drive contact guy that can bunt. So he's my John Coot Langus, who's one of my other assistant coaches. And Coot was a great leadoff hitter at South Carolina, an all-SEC player. And Garrett Octavio, our leadoff guy, is very similar to him. You know, the catcher, John Michael Thales, very similar to me. We got, our DH and a couple of our outfielders are kind of like Trey Dyson, big power guys. So it's a fun team, a well-rounded team, and I'm excited to see what we can do going forward.
Now, I got to ask you something here real quick. You got a few former Gamecocks in particular on your team. I see some are contributing to you in a big way. Correct me if I'm wrong here on some of this stuff, but as I look through it, I see like Logan Chapman is 7-2. He's former Gamecock, I do believe, and I think Jack Cash was also a former Gamecock, and he's hitting the ball well for you. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, so we have, there are a lot of Gamecocks in my program. That's obviously, that was my alma mater, and I feel like I bleed Garnet. So, we got our coaching staff to start with. I mean, myself, Coach Coot Langus, Coach Trey Dyson, and Coach Matt Williams are all guys that wore the Gamecock uniform, and so that's a fabric of our program. And then from the player standpoint, Jordan Holiday is one of our first basemen. He started most of the games in the tournament. He's had a good season. He was a transfer from South Carolina. Logan Chapman, as you mentioned, who made first team all conference as a pitcher, went to South Carolina out of high school. And then Jack Cash, he went there last year, never played, COVID, and he redshirted. So he never saw any time at South Carolina, but he was there 1 year and then transferred to us. He's a kid that I've known since he was young and used to do a lot of catching clinics and stuff with him when he was growing up. So I had a relationship with him before he ever went to college. And, so he's a tremendous player. Freshman, he's going to be a stud. He hit 330 or 340 this year. He's also a catcher and a pitcher and very talented kid. So we're fortunate. We got a lot of really good players and got a lot of in-state guys. I mean, it's unique. We've had the 2017 5A State Player of the Year on our team, the 2018 5A State Player of the Year. We've had several freshman conference Player of the Years that have all been in-state kids. So, we got some guys from far away. I have an outfielder from Czech Republic who's had a tremendous season. I got a second baseman from Hawaii. But we also have a bunch of homegrown kids like our catcher, third baseman, first baseman, shortstop. They're all local South Carolina kids that have had great seasons. So our center fielder is a River Bluff kid. So it's a fun team.
What's ahead for you? What's next as you go into the regional and national tournament scene?
So because of COVID this year, they pushed our regional back significantly. So we don't play in a regional until May 27th. So now I got to figure out my next challenge as a coach is how do you keep a team ready for 25 days. So we don't play for 25 days, and then we'll give it a go. So a lot of practices. I'm sure we'll wear a lot of shorts and take it easy, nice, easy practices. We'll maybe go to the golf course a couple times. We'll do a couple pool parties. Just enjoy it. There's no school, so just baseball and weights, and just kind of living the dream for this next 3 weeks until we go to a regional.
Well, congratulations on another great year. 33-11 overall, 23-9 in your league, 15-3 at home. I mean, fantastic. And we'll be following you once you get into postseason play and see if you can bring home that ultimate big trophy. I know that's the goal.
That's the goal, Phil. That's true. And I appreciate you having me on and covering our program. And I'm always love coming on with you guys.
Well, same here. And tell everybody we said hello, Trey and rest of the gang, and we will see you and talk to you again soon.
All right, take care.
You too. All right. Landon Powell, always one of my favorite interviews. And I remember, this goes back, I can't even remember how many years, Chris, but I was doing the show. We did the show on July 4th back in those days before we finally wised up and decided not to do a show on July 4th. But he committed to South Carolina because we had his dad on the show on July 4th of whatever year that was. I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. And we had his dad on the show. And he graduated high school. He used a loophole and graduated high school a year early. I mean, he came to South Carolina when he was 17 years old. He was very young. And of course, he and Ray Tanner, he'd gone to Ray Tanner camps at NC State when Tanner was there. So it became a natural for him to come to South Carolina and play for Ray Tanner. They were that close. There was never really any doubt. Wherever Ray Tanner was, I believe that's where Landon Powell was going to end up. And I mean, he was the coup. I mean, this was the guy that was going to be like a Johnny Bench type catcher for South Carolina, and he certainly was. He was great catcher, offensive player, excellent defender, big time arm. He had it on. Of course, he has his major league experience to support that. He had his years in the major leagues. Unfortunately, he had some health issues, some injury issues, and some health issues and things like that. So I'm glad he's thriving and doing well at North Greenville. That program is outstanding. And
he's done a terrific job there. And if I'm not mistaken, Phil, does he not run a hitting school or something up in the upstate as well?
Probably does.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah. I think he does have that. But I was listening to him talk about how he wants to bash the baseball. And this is what you draw up if you're a college coach, isn't it? They've got 11 sacrifice bunts this season, and they have hit, as a team, 78 home runs.
Yeah.
So 3 times more.
That's bash ball, baby.
And the young man, real quick, his leadoff guy, did he have a choice other than play baseball with his first name being Gehrig?
Yeah. Well, he also has a Girardi on his team. It's not spelled the same way as Joe. Joe's is spelled G-I-R. This is Jake Girardi, spelled G-E-R-A-R-D-I. But yeah, Gehrig Octavio. Batting
no choice
441. Yeah, 441. They also have a guy, let's see. The guy with 21 home runs is John Michael Fail, as he was talking about. 21 homers, 438 batting average, 73 runs batted in. They walk a lot, too, and they don't strike out all that often for a team that's probably a bunch of free swingers. 320 strikeouts in 44 games, whatever that works out to. Real quick, here is what Brad Brownell allegedly said to this O'Neal McBride during practice that his father put on, O'Neal McBride's father put on Facebook, that caught everybody's attention and led to that story. I mean, I'm not going to read it word for word. I'd be kicked off the radio. But, quote, O'Neal, you are an a lazy piece of blank you, end quote, Coach Brad Brownell. March 9th of 21, ACC tournament practice, Greensboro, North Carolina. And Mark McBride put on his Facebook post, Brad, you don't humiliate, harass, abuse, or threaten the futures of young men. I've been waiting for your call. You have my number.
How is he threatening the future of that young man? What he said. He probably went too far. The last phrase, we know what he said. It's probably maybe a little much. But if I'm called a lazy person by a coach, that gets my attention immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop being lazy. And I think that's what Brad Brownell was trying to do. Heck, for a walk-on to get that much attention, he ought to be thrilled.
If they don't holler at you, that means they don't care. At least that's why my coaches never hollered at me, because they knew
they don't have to waste.
It wouldn't do any good. They didn't want to waste the spit, Okay, but Dan Radakovich says all is good. It's been looked into, no problems. Let's give you the recruiting report here for Sports Talk on this Monday night. It's brought to you by Seawells. Of course, we remind you that Seawells has the daily luncheon buffet every day this week from 11 till 2. Get out there and enjoy it and relax and have a great meal during the lunchtime hour. They serve it up Monday through Friday, and it's a delicious buffet of selection of meats and vegetables and desserts. Also, of course, the very best in the catering business, that is Seawells for more than 70 years. The Seawells family and staff been handling all of your planning and catering needs. They'll hold your event at their facility on Rosewood Drive, or they'll be happy to come to your location. Their phone number, 803-771-7385. 803-771-7385. Let Seawells make your event a memorable experience and take all that work off of your shoulders. So, recruiting-wise, linebacker Donovan Westmoreland of Griffin, Georgia, announced a decommitment from Georgia this morning and a commitment to USC. He had committed to the Bulldogs on January 22nd. He was part of what was becoming the number one recruiting class nationally, but USC recruiter and defensive ends coach Mike Peterson, or outside linebackers coach, who offered Westmoreland last September while Will Muschamp was head coach, stayed locked in and was able to turn him. And Westmoreland told us, quote, Georgia wasn't keeping in touch with me that much. We were just separating. South Carolina, the head coach, Coach Peterson, Coach Jimmy Lindsey, all of those were keeping in touch with me every day, having conversations and checking on me. The bond grew, and Coach Lindsey and Coach Peterson know my former coaches at Griffin High, he said, so it was only right. I saw the consistency and it opened my eyes a lot, end quote. He came in for the spring game, and after that, he kind of realized that South Carolina was the place for him. He also has offers from Georgia Tech, Illinois, Louisville, Akron, Syracuse, Troy, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Maryland, North Carolina, and Central Florida. Rated a 3-star in the 24/7 Sports Composite, number 30 outside linebacker prospect nationally. 84 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 12 sacks. Been invited to the 2022 Florida-Georgia All-Star Game. Gives the Gamecocks 4 commitments in the class. He plans to visit in June and is looking at signing and graduating in December. And he says this ends his recruiting. And, of course, you heard from Tyrese Ross, who committed to South Carolina on Friday night and will be enrolling this summer. Defensive tackle Curtis Neal, 6'1", 290 of Cornelius, North Carolina, just ended his junior season in April in the playoffs. And now he's kind of focusing on his recruiting, has his eyes on about 5 schools. He has set officials with 3, including USC. He talked to Shane Beamer Saturday, and he has scheduled an official for the Gamecock season opener September 4th. And he said that Beamer is telling him how much they want him, and he hopes he can visit in June as well. Said he had a great conversation with him and was told that he'd be a good asset for the team. He also hears a lot from Jimmy Lindsey practically every day, so he's growing closer with him. He also has officials with Wisconsin June 4th and Ohio State June 11th. He said Mississippi State and Oregon are 2 others showing a lot of interest. But right now, he's set with those 3 official visits, the 2 in the summer and then the 1 with North Carolina. He's played 26 games in high school per Max Preps. He's got 91 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, and 8 sacks during his high school career at this point. Also, we updated from a South Carolina standpoint the basketball commitment, Carlos Williams. We updated this over the weekend. And Carlos, who committed to USC and Frank Martin on August 28th, he was going to sign April 26th. That was his plan, to honor his grandfather. But he did not, because he still has to finish up some academic work. He said everything is still good. He says it's about him and his eligibility qualifying. He said he should be able to get it done, but if he doesn't, he'll probably end up going to Brewster Academy in New Hampshire, where South Carolina has a connection. And his school year ends May 17th, so he'll know about that time if he gets the grades to join USC now. He's been in regular contact with Gamecock assistant Bruce Shingler, and he believes he's still a take for the Gamecocks if he becomes eligible. He said he needs 2 classes. He just needs to pass them. He averaged 15 and 11 this past season, a season that he said really wasn't very good for him, but he posted some pretty good numbers there. USC offered 2024 receiver cornerback Devontae Floyd of Norfolk, Virginia, defensive tackle Nick James of IMG Academy, named the top 6 of USC, LSU, Florida, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Oregon. He has an official with the Gamecocks June 25th. Linebacker Joshua Josephs, Kennesaw, Georgia, named the top 8 of USC, UCF, Memphis, Penn State, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, Miami. Safety Xavier Nwakpa, Altoona, Iowa. Named the final 7 of Clemson, Iowa, LSU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Arizona State. Hilton head linebacker Jalen Sneed named the top 5 of Tennessee, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Texas A&M. USC had offered, Clemson had not. Safety Kai Stokes, Sefner, Florida, who was offered by USC last week, committed to Ohio State. Cornerback James Mons of Fort Pierce, Florida, who had an early offer from Clemson, named the top 6 of Miami, Wisconsin, Mississippi State, Indiana, Michigan State, Nebraska. Spring Valley cornerback Paul Davis committed to Carnegie Mellon. Former Coastal Carolina guard Devontae Jones transferring to Michigan. And I think we mentioned the other night. No, this is new. I'm sorry. USC women offered 2024 5'6" Jelani Cambridge of Nashville. She was a Miss Basketball in Tennessee this past season. 19 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. Clemson also has offered. And one-time USC and Clemson target 6'9" Langston Wilson of Georgia Highlands committed to Washington. There you go.
Good stuff. Wow. Big recruiting weekend for sure.
Big, heavy duty, meaty, juicy, medium rare recruiting report tonight. How was that recruiting report you did Friday night? You are no longer a recruiting virgin. You have done.
I appreciate that. I'm sure I butchered it well enough, so I'm glad you're back. But you
don't worry, you got many more chances coming up.
By the way, quick other note just coming out here since we went on the air. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network is reporting Carolina. No, this is the Panthers. Carolina has requested an interview with former Panthers standout Dan Morgan for their assistant general manager position. He's currently with the Bills front office.
Okay. I thought you were going to tell me he was going to report that Aaron Rodgers had flavored coffee for dinner tonight as he contemplates his future. Okay. Thank you, Bergie. Thank you, Pat. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart.
This is 107 The Point.